All right, now hopefully this solved the problem. Hopefully, uh, my audio is working this time. Once again, thank you for tuning in to the State of the Saints podcast. Had to leave the original live in order to pick up on the new one. So hopefully we fix these problems and we can talk a little bit more about the New Orleans Saints. Talk a little bit about the coronavirus. Thank you. Woo. All right, man. I'm gonna have to kill Streamlabs and start over, start from scratch or something. So thank you. I don't know what's going on with that, man. Maybe my settings. I suck at Streamlabs, man. I'm just be honest with you. I've looked at the tutorial, but probably gonna have to go ahead and start it all over again with the settings and stuff like that. So hopefully this sounds better for y'all, man. Hopefully the mic sound good. Hopefully everything copacetic. Yeah, I'm seeing thumbs up in chat. So that's a plus. I feel like I gotta go ahead and talk about this again. I feel like I gotta talk about this again, folks, because probably was distorted. For those that just tuned in, I went live earlier, and I talked a little bit about what I feel like the biggest issue is with the New Orleans Saints, and I feel like it is Sean Payton and Drew Brees. I'm just calling a spade a spade. Sean Payton and Drew Brees are the main issues for the Saints' woes over the years, because between Sean Payton's arrogant play calling and Drew Brees not one to give up not one I can't even say it. Dime. Ooh, tongue twister. But anyway, didn't want to give up a dime. Okay, I just say it like that. I just feel like when it comes down to it, I feel like these guys could have got the Saints to a couple Super Bowls. So all the people out there, I feel like the Who Dat Nation is a bunch of traditionalists. I feel like they just don't want to look past Sean Payton or Drew Brees. They're like, God and Jesus almost in New Orleans. So I feel like that has a lot to do with it. And until we hold these guys accountable, until we go and say, look, man, look, we ain't taking that. We appreciate what y'all did, but this is a what have you done for me lately type league. And these guys have to start generating results. I feel like people opinion about Drew Brees and, considering going in a different direction was justified. I mean, I'm gonna just be honest. I love Drew Brees, but I can understand the criticism, man. Make no mistake about it. Unless you just blind or you turn to Stevie Wonder on Wild Card Weekend, Drew Brees played a huge role in the Saints not winning that football game. And I know he gave us so much success, and that's what people always go back to. But at the same time, all these regular season accolades don't mean a damn thing. I mean, it's just real talk. It don't mean nothing. Like in a couple years, the way the NFL is going, the way that you can't sneeze on a quarterback, the way that you can't touch him if you throw him down too aggressively, it's a flag. So guys are afraid to even touch the quarterback because it's mostly like a $20,000 fine. Man, you don't want to touch these quarterbacks. These guys are going to end up throwing for like a million gazillion yards out here, man. People are going to be throwing for 100,000 yards in a career. So, I mean, all these records are going to be made to be broken, man. It's giving us so much joy in the Who Dat Nation, but at the same time, I mean, what does it really give you? The Saints went 13-3, but what did it get you? The Saints have won 3 division titles, but what did it get you? Like it didn't get you a Super Bowl appearance. It didn't get you back to the NFC Championship game. And I don't feel like the Saints are they're not any closer than they were a couple of years ago. So they really got to do some soul searching this offseason, man. But I did have the phone line open for those that want to call in. 504-354-0165. I'm going to go ahead and take the time right now and put the phone number inside of the chat really quick so everybody can have it. So if you want to call in, you want to talk a little bit about the Saints, please do. I encourage that. But I'm going to go ahead and read the chat. And thank y'all very much once again for those that donated through Streamlabs. And also through the super chat. Thank y'all very much. Dalton, man, my guy, man. What's going on, Dalton? Joe said, sounds better. Good, 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 good. I mean, y'all don't know how angry I was like listening to that show on last night, man. I was like, oh my goodness, like that was horrible. Like I apologize. I apologize in advance for people that had to endure that, and I appreciate you all for staying on that long because, man, that was awful. That like I was telling my fiance after I got off, I said that was just absolutely horrible right there. Even though I'm not really big on the glitz and the glamour, I still want to make sure that I'm give you the best quality I can. Dalton said, sorry, I missed it. What were you talking about? Yeah, I was talking about Sean Payton and Drew Brees. Iceman T called earlier on the first live stream, and he talked a little bit about Sean Payton and holding Sean Payton accountable. And I 100% agree with that. DLP 2600 says, sounds better. Brian Spears says, what up, family? What's going on, Brian? Thank you for checking out the State of the Saints. Jerry, my guy, says, sounds better. Thank you. They both selfish as hell, says Kelly. You have to say that, man. You got to say it. Like, honestly, man, if we can critique all these other players and we can, evaluate them, why can't we evaluate guys even though they're great? It's only fair. It's Sean Payton and the defense. Run the football. Man, that's what I'm talking about. The Saints are bigger than Sean and Drew. I agree. One day these guys are no longer going to be coaching or playing in the National Football League, and the Saints are still going to be a part of the league. So we got to hold them accountable, man. And I feel like I think Sean Payton is so arrogant. He looks at it like, man, before y'all had me, y'all didn't have nothing. I mean, I think Sean Payton getting this David Ruffin on, if you ask me. For those that didn't watch the Temptations, the Temptation movie, probably a classic, especially within the black culture. The Temptations, were a group from Motown, and they started off with a group member who was always late, wanted to get in fights, wanted to drink, and they replaced him with David Ruffin. And David Ruffin, he was singing in the background, for a little while, Eddie Kendricks was out there doing this thing, where you do your things you do and all that kind of stuff. And he was the lead singer. And then all of a sudden, Smokey Robinson and what you call him, I can't think of the guy's name, the songwriter. But anyway, they asked him to come to the front and lead a song called My Girl. And then after that, David Ruffin let that get to his head. And then they made Ain't Too Proud to Beg. And he started coming late and riding in Rolls Royce and hanging out with the dude that played on The Young and the Restless. But anyway, he got full of himself. He thought that the Temptations wasn't nothing without him. I think everybody remember that part when he was like, man, y'all can't do it like me because there's only one David Ruffin in the Temptations. And I think that's what Sean Payton think the Saints going to do. They need to change it to Sean Payton and the New Orleans Saints. But it ain't happening, man. It ain't happening. All right. All right. I'm just being 100 with you, man. Like he on this David Ruffin right now. He feel like the Saints are so much better without him with him and without him or Drew Brees, they're not going to be anything at all. Well, I tell you what, David Ruffin was replaced with Dennis Edwards, and they end up winning Grammys. They made Cloud 9. They made Just My Imagination. They made Papa Was a Rolling Stone. Yes, I am a musical historian, and I do like that movie. But anyway, that shows you right there. Those guys, aren't the only game in town. If you're not doing a good job, then you will be replaced. Andy Reid was replaced by Doug Peterson, end up going to the Super Bowl in Philly. The Seattle Seahawks, they replaced Jim Mora Jr. with Pete Carroll. They end up going to the Super Bowl. It took them a while, but the San Francisco 49ers got rid of Jim Harbaugh. They got Kyle Shanahan. They ended up going to the Super Bowl. They didn't win it, but they got there. And even the Atlanta Falcons, man, the Atlanta Falcons end up going to the Super Bowl when they replaced Smith with Dan Quinn. So, you're not the only game in town, no matter how hot you think you are. At the end of the day, you can be replaced. You are replaceable. In the words of Beyonce, they must not know about us. We will get you replaced if you do not do your job. If we can't get a wide receiver in the draft, get one in free agency. You can make it up to us by discussing our farts for a while. Nah, man, I'm good on that. I be ripping them. I be ripping them. Tom Brady, hope you got some higher self-esteem again, man. Do you think Drew would teach me how to throw the football if I came to New Orleans? Man, get your self-esteem up, Tom. Drew Brees, I think he can help you out with that. Joe says, so do you think Drew takes a pay cut this time? He better. He better. If he don't take a pay cut this time, then you might well stay home with the wife and the kids, man, because you still ain't gonna win nothing, man. Because you still gonna put the team in a very compromising position. Like you would think that, man, you'd have made enough money, man. Drew Brees has made over $200 million, and that's not even counting like the Jimmy Johns, the walk-ons franchises that he have. I mean, Drew Brees, man, he ain't hurting, man. I understand you got 4 kids and Newman High School not cheap, or Newman School period isn't cheap. You know, they're not in high school, but Newman School, I understand that's one of the most prestigious schools in New Orleans, but still, man, like, come on, bro. Like, you want to win Super Bowls, or you just up here just trying to get a quick money grab? That's all I want. That's all I'm asking. I like the kid Thad Moss, the tight end. Yeah, Kelly, I like him too, out of LSU. I think he has to get surgery on his toe. So that's going to stop him, man. I mean, he didn't perform at the combine, and he's not going to get opportunity to perform at the pro day. So really, what you've seen in the national championship game in the Peach Bowl is going to be his body of work. And of course, like what he did throughout the season. So I don't know. Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. Yeah, man. Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. Yeah, man. That was a great group right there, man. Smokey Robinson was the man, man. I don't get it twisted now. Smokey Robinson was a good vocalist, and he was a good songwriter too, man. He wrote The Way You Do the Things You Do. He wrote that song. I think he wrote Just My Imagination, if I'm not mistaken. And so, man, Smokey Robinson was the man. And, ooh, baby, baby. That song right there. I like that joint. Mike Evans, I be seeing Lattimore in my nightmares. Mike Evans, thank you very much, man. Like, hey, you still pretty good, man. I mean, you be up and down sometimes. Who are the Saints cut? Dalton. I think the Saints are going to end up cutting Von Bell. I think they're going to end up cutting PJ Williams. Thank the Lord. I think they're going to end up cutting Eli Apple. I think they're going to end up keeping Davion Yamada, and I think they're going to end up cutting. I won't say cutting, but not re-signing these guys. They're not going to re-sign AJ Klein. I don't think that's going to happen either. Let's see. Thoughts on the NBA being suspended? Rich, I talked about it in detail on the State of the Game. I posted a video on the State of the Game podcast. Just check it out. I was a little bit more in depth than what I'm going to be right now, but Rich, I appreciate you asking the question, so I'm gonna go ahead and answer it for you. I think that it's weird, man. It's crazy that the coronavirus has swept the world like this, man. I mean, this is a pandemic going on right now. I can't believe that it has gotten this far. I didn't think that it was going to be that way. I was thinking maybe it's going to be like the Ebola virus or something like that. A couple people get it. Next thing you know, we're talking about something else. But this seems like this is going to be a big deal. And you got to take the all the precautions and stuff like that. Look, I understand. Like, I'm a fan of the NBA. I love sports, but at the end of the day, we got to remember these are real human beings too. And some of us are protecting ourselves and not going in certain places. So, I mean, what makes them exempt from that? Just because they give us some level of joy and they make us proud and they make us smile and they make us mad. They're still human beings at the end of the day with families, and they want to be healthy too, just like you and me. So even though it sucks that, we're going to be without sports for a while until, they find a cure or find the solutions to these problems that we're having right now when it comes to the coronavirus. But look, I completely understand. I I do think it's jacked up that they actually call Rudy Gobert's name, man. I mean, that sucks right there. I feel like they could have helped that man out by not saying his name. They could have just said a Utah Jazz player and left it at that, and left people just wondering who that Utah Jazz player was. But now people are gonna be looking at this man sideways, even when he come back. And that whole virus thing is over. People are gonna be looking at him, and he might end up scoring about 50 points. Because nobody won't be close to him. But Rudy Gobert with a career high 55. The defense was like they didn't even want to guard him. Playing that Moses defense. They were parting the Red Sea for him. They were letting them dunk and everything. It looked like the slam dunk competition in real life, in the actual game. That's what it's going to look like. Rudy Gobert with 60 points. But you think Michael Thomas would teach me how to catch? Man, Mike Evans, you good, man. Mike Evans, you're a good football player, man. Like, you're one of the best wide receivers in football. You'll be all right. Iceman T say, I'm sorry for always nagging. I'm just tired of the excuses all the time, man. It's always an excuse to why they didn't make it. Then we, the fans, are left holding the emotional baggage. Iceman, never apologize for your opinion, my brother. Never apologize for being passionate about the team, man. I mean, I know I am, man. How many times have y'all seen me go out on a spill, you know what I'm saying, over this Saints team? So don't apologize for your opinion, man. That just means that you have passion. I mean, you got some people out here that just want to do things for shock value. They just want to just say stuff, to be trolls and also just trying to be fire starters. I mean, those are the type of people I can't roll with. But you, man, I mean, you're pretty logical, man, when it comes to the Saints. I won't say pretty. You're really logical. I see you criticize and you also congratulate. So you got a good balance, man, a good yin to the yang going on over there. Kelly Cole says, can you imagine if Mardi Gras was this weekend and being canceled? Man, that would be crazy. But the real question is, did anybody catch the coronavirus in New Orleans and they don't know about it? That's the real question. People coming from all over. That's interesting right there. Jerry Poor says, I was angry and disappointed after I heard the NBA suspending the season. Yeah, I was too, man. But Jerry, like I said, you want to make sure that these guys are safe. I don't have no problem with that. I can get upset, but at the end of the day, I want those guys to be safe. Temptations was one of my favorite movies as a kid, and I'm only 22. Jaleel, man, God dog, man, you're a baby out here. But Temptations, man, I probably can quote that movie like line for line, but I'm not gonna do that for y'all. I mean, I won't do it, but I can do that. I mean, it's one of my favorite movies. I got a DVD somewhere up in here. Don't laugh at me. I know we don't really watch DVDs no more, but that's one of those, one of those movies you got to keep on hand. That, The Five Heartbeats, Love and Basketball, Coming to America, Harlem Nights, Boys in the Hood, New Jack City. Those you have to have in your house somewhere. Spike Lee, Do the Right Thing, School Days. I'm missing one. The Best Man. Love Jones. Man, you got to have that somewhere in your house. Brown Sugar. You got to have that, for the culture. Okay. I understand like that, some of the people on here, they're not, African-American, but most African-Americans, go have those movies in their house somewhere. Heck, some non-African-Americans probably gonna have that in their house. So y'all gonna have one of them movies, man. I guarantee you gonna know it word for word, without a doubt. Would you trade for Darius Slay? No, I would not. Darius Slay, as good as he is, I would not trade for him. I'm not trying to trade for anybody. I think the Saints got a good combination of corners. I think they probably need to draft one more or try to get a guy free agency in the slot. Besides that, I think they're good, man. Jerry says, I understand, TJ, and you're right about the safety. Yeah, man, you got to be safe when it comes to the NBA. Final Four in Atlanta will not have fans in attendance. Yeah, folks got their tickets already in hotel rooms. This is crazy. Yeah, man, you want to know what's crazy, though? Did y'all hear that story about Harvard University telling their students to, leave campus and they have to be out by Sunday? Like, now that's crazy. Imagine if you take your last couple dollars just to get some money for a flight, and you just think that you're going to be in Boston or Cambridge, Massachusetts, at this time, for this amount of time, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, somebody telling you got to go home. That is insane, man. A basketball game, you can get your money back. I mean, it sucks, but at the same time, you can get your money back. But just imagine, man, taking your last couple dollars to try to make it to Harvard University. Everybody ain't rich. Everybody ain't trust fund around that joint. You got people out there that took their last in order to get to that university, man. And, for them to just, kick their students out like that, not even trying to, make accommodations for them. You got people that come from all across the world to come to Harvard University as a student. What are those students going to do? Where they going to go? If you come all the way from Italy or you come all the way from England in order for you to go to Harvard University, what are you supposed to do? Stay with a friend. What if you don't have friends like that? What if you don't have that close confidant that you can confide in and somebody you can lean on, in a time of crisis like this? Now, that's cutthroat. I mean, a basketball game is unfortunate, but you can get your money back and you can get your room and board back. I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure that hotels are going to be able to refund people and airlines are going to be able to refund people. And I'm pretty sure people are going to get their money back from StubHub or Ticketmaster. But a school, man, that's a whole different beast. TJ, how can you forget the movie with Queen Latifah when they were robbing the banks? Oh, Set It Off. Yeah, Iceman T. Yeah, you got to have Set It Off in the house somewhere too. You got to have Set It Off. That's a classic also, cult classic. Friday is a classic. I can't believe I didn't mention Friday. That's a classic also, man. Dwayne says, I'm back, fellas. Dwayne, appreciate it. Thanks for coming back. Iceman T, that would be Set It Off, I think. Yeah, Set It Off, Jerry. Should the Saints sign Logan Ryan? That would be a good pick right there, but he's going to ask for a lot of money, man, at the safety position. Probably going to be one of the highest paid safeties in football. So I don't think the Saints are going to be committing that type of cheddar to Logan Ryan. So that would be a good pickup for him, but he might be a little bit expensive. But Dalton, that's good thinking though, man. But somebody going to back up the Brinks truck for that guy. P. Felton Saint says, what low cost free agent that's on the radar? In my opinion, Everson Griffin needs to be on the Saints radar. I feel like Jamie Collins should be on the Saints radar. With their wide receiver that played for the Titans that had a pretty good season. I think C.J. Gardner-Johnson knocked him out cold, but he ended up having a pretty good season. He's a free agent. I would be looking at him to replace some of these scrubs on the team like Austin Hughes Carr and, some of these other guys that are just taking up space and time. There's so many other guys out there, that I can name. I got to look at the list. But those are the guys that I want the Saints to try to look at because these guys are cheap, smart players that can contribute right away. So we agree that Drew not taking a pay cut is the reason we sucked in 2015 and 16. Iceman T, no. He's the reason why we sucked in 2011. We didn't suck in 2011, made the playoffs, but he the reason why we didn't get over the hump then. You know what I'm saying? And all those down years that we had, all those selfish players that we had to end up getting because, they were cheap labor. I will say that, around the 2013s and 14s when them boys couldn't cover once again with a bed sheet. Okay. They couldn't tackle a math question and they couldn't get penetration, pressure, if they was using the EPUB. I got to say that again and again. It's just what it is, man. Like, they were horrible. They were horrible defensively. Derrick Henry says, I remember the way the Saints D-line ran up in me. Derrick Henry, I don't think you remember that, man, because you didn't play in that game. You didn't play in the game, man. You actually sat out because you felt like the team needed you in a game against the Houston Texans, and you ran for like 200 yards on them. So, I don't know if it's I don't want to say that. I had a joke, but I'm gonna just leave it alone. Nah, man, you didn't play in that game, buddy. Dwayne says, same here in California. Pepperdine is clearing out the entire campus. Man, that's crazy. In California, man, speaking of California, man, my favorite actor of all time, Tom Hanks and his wife contracted the coronavirus, man. That's right. Forrest Gump and Jenny, I'm just playing, contracted the coronavirus, man. That's crazy. Oh man, California, man. I'm hearing a lot of cases out there, Dwayne, man. You keep your head on the swivel, man. You got to bob and weave out there. Iceman T says, thank Jerry. I get, man. Shouts out to y'all guys, man. Always make the show fun. Rich Flex says, love the show. Always love hearing your podcast. Thank you, Rich, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate $2 too. Thank you so much. Don't forget House Party. Yeah, that's a good one too. Now, I'm gonna say this. House Party 1 is a classic. 2 and 3, and the one with Immature, man, y'all can keep that. Okay. House Party 1 was the best because Robin Harris was still alive during that time, and I think that movie right there is a cult classic. House Party 2, when Kid went to college, I didn't like that one. And House Party 3, when Kid got married, I didn't like that one either. So I think that House Party 1 is a classic. House Party 2 and 3, you could keep those. And I don't know, the one with Immature, that don't even count. Don't Kid and Play, Scary Movie. Scary Movie is not what I would, I don't know. It's a classic, but I don't know. Me personally, I don't think that's part of the rotation. I don't think that's part of the rotation, in my opinion. Now, don't be all time. Man, Rich, you put me on the spot. I mean, my favorite Saint of all time is Drew Brees. I would just call it for what it is, man. Like, as much as, he deserves the criticism, he's still my favorite Saint of all time. I mean, he's earned that right. And a close second is Pierre Thomas. Pierre Thomas is my second favorite Saint of all time. My worst favorite Saint of all time, without question, is Fred Thomas. Fred Thomas is the worst New Orleans Saints player ever, in my opinion. That guy was straight up hot garbage. Terrible. Smoked like brisket, burnt like a biscuit on a consistent basis. I will take you back to the NFC Championship game back in 2006 when the Saints played the Chicago Bears, and Wilson just threw the ball up in the air. He was playing pitch-up tackle at this time. Just throwing the ball up in the air looked like a punt. Okay? The only thing that Fred Thomas had to do was secure the bag or secure the football. Okay? But he miscalculated it. And Bernard Berrien, who slipped down on his back, caught the football and then rolled backwards into the end zone. And that's when I knew, folks, that guy was absolutely hot garbage. The worst Saints player that I know. I mean, I'm pretty sure they have some more, but for me, Fred Thomas is the number one worst New Orleans Saints player. I mean, you can throw in Jason Smoke Turkey Davis somewhere up in that thing. Honestly, the list go on and on, but Fred Thomas is for me. Let's see. Okay, Williams gets my vote as the worst. What's Williams? What Williams is that? Are you talking about Boo Williams? What Williams are you talking about? Marcus Williams? Which one are you talking about? Let's see. Talk smack about me now, fool. I don't know who that is. Oh, Austin Carr. Oh, Austin Carr. You want me to talk smack about you, man? Look, I'm not the type of person that talks about somebody behind their back, and I wouldn't say it to their face. Austin Carr, I'm just going to call it what it is, man. I'm sorry, my friend, but you just taking up space. You taking up space for somebody else that can be a possible contributor to the New Orleans Saints team. You stay hurt all the time. When you're on the field, you're not on the field. You're basically Casper the Al, the hologram. I don't know if I only can see you or if anybody else can see you, because like John Cena say, nobody can see you because I thought he was an urban legend. I thought he was like Sasquatch or the Loch Ness monster. I didn't think he really existed. That's what I think about you, Austin Carr. I'm sorry, man. Until you actually do something on the field, until you actually catch a pass, until you actually contribute, instead of just being a jersey wearer, you're just taking up space, my friend. Iceman T says, welcome to State of the Saints comedy roast session. On tonight's menu, Marcus Williams and Traquan Smith. Marcus Williams, man, look, I'm sorry, folks. I can't talk about this guy, man. The only thing I can say about him, he is the notorious knee tackler. But I do like Marcus Williams. I think he has a lot of promise. Once again, he reminds me a lot of a young Malcolm Jenkins. Malcolm Jenkins had the same type of issues that Marcus Williams is having earlier in his career. And I feel like if Marcus Williams was to go somewhere else, he'll end up being really, really good. And he's going to be one of those guys like, why did we get rid of him? I just feel like that towards him. I know he made a mistake in his rookie season, but he still had 5 interceptions that year. Until like week 9, he was ranked number 1 as one of the best safeties in football. Until he decided to go at people kneecaps for some apparent reason. Traquan Smith, I'm not going to really talk about him too much because quite frankly, Iceman, is it really Traquan Smith or is it Drew Brees? Because when Teddy Bridgewater was in the game, if I could steal from you for a second, when Teddy Bridgewater was playing, Traquan Smith was making plays when he was out there. I seen Teddy Bridgewater throwing his way on multiple occasions, okay? But it seems like to me when Drew Brees go in the game, that's when he becomes Traquan the friendly Saints ghost, okay? I mean, call it for what it is. Is it Traquan Smith? Is it Sean Payton not calling his number? Is it Drew Brees not calling his number? I mean, I really don't know. So until I figure that out, I'm gonna have to give him a pass. But I will say this, man. He's starting to get a little bit, injury prone. I will say that about him. If he gets cut from the Chiefs, you think we should sign Sammy Watkins? Sammy Watkins, that would be a good pickup for the New Orleans Saints. Don't know how much he's going to be asking for. He is a Super Bowl champion right now, and he's not a bad wide receiver. He just got dealt a bad deal by going to the Buffalo Bills. That's an NFL purgatory right there. That's the point of no return. So I feel like they just kind of squandered his talent. And, with the Chiefs, he thrived. I think it had a lot to do with Andy Reid having faith and confidence in him and also, making plays for him. Y'all forgetting about Jerome Payton and T. Sucky Jones. Jerome Payton wasn't that bad, man. Jerome Payton wasn't that bad to me. He's not bad enough for me to say he's one of the worst Saints players ever. I wouldn't put him in that category. I mean, he had some moments. Don't forget about big dog Charles Grant. Oh, yeah, man. Charles Grant. Yeah, man, waste of a first-round draft pick. I don't know, man. The Saints just start falling in love with Georgia football players like during like the 90s or something. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it was. Charles Grant went to Georgia. He was pretty good for him, man. It was a first-round pick, and then all of a sudden he just ate his way out of the league, bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches, McGriddles, big breakfasts and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? One stand in shape. It wasn't a cafe he hit up in New Orleans, when the beignet he would turn down. I mean, I just think he ate his way out of the league, man. And he just, he didn't never, end up doing what the Saints wanted him to do. I don't have coronavirus. I have cornholio virus. It's not so much a disease of the heart. It's more of a disease of the farts. I be ripping them. Cornholio, okay. Man, shouts out to Beavis and Butthead, man. That's a classic right there. Speaking of classics, interesting. Fred Thomas. Yeah, Fred Thomas, man, terrible. R.I.P. NBA. Ha, you're right, TJ. Fred Thomas, one-arm bandit. Trash. Absolutely trash. Now, I know, Anomaly say I'll be behind on the chats and stuff like that, but it's just me giving the opportunity to read everybody's stuff, man. So if I'm behind, and I know I talked about Fred Thomas quite a bit, so I'm rolling up on the Fred Thomas, part of the show. But I'm going to go ahead and read some of these. Jerry says, Fred burnt Thomas. Smoked like brisket, burnt like a biscuit. Absolutely, man. Terrible. straight up getting smoked, roasted, and toasted all over the field. Misused and abused. I mean, honestly, man, I thought that somebody was going to have to call 911 on him, man. It seemed like it was a domestic dispute the way that boy was out there getting abused like that. No disrespect to anybody out there. I'm just, I take domestic violence seriously, but at the same time, man, homeboy was out there getting worked. Which one hurt you the most? 2018 NFC Championship game, 2011 playoffs versus the 49ers, 2010 Seahawks game, 2020 Vikings game, 2017 Vikings playoffs, and 2006 NFC Championship game. Rich, God dog, man, you bringing up some wounds, boy. I can just feel a knife on me. Cut. Like, woo. Which one was the worst? Which one was the worst? I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm going to break them down if y'all can give me some time, all right? Because I don't know, man. I'm feeling all right tonight. All right. 2011 playoffs versus the 49ers. This is ranked number one to me. And I'm only saying that because that's the first one I see. It was the worst. Okay. Keep that in mind. And then I'm going to come back to it. The 2010 Seattle playoff game didn't really hurt that much because the Saints were Super Bowl champions, and everybody knows that when a team is a Super Bowl champion, they get people's best football because teams like to match themselves up against the champs. Okay, so didn't really hurt me that much. It was kind of a down year for them anyway. They really didn't have much of a defense. Most of the secondary was hurt that season, so not really. Let me see. 2020 Vikings. Yeah, that one sucked. That one really sucked right there. I would have to rank that probably the number 3. That would be number 3. 2017 playoffs versus the Vikings. That would be ranked number 2 for me. Okay. 2006 NFC Championship game. That would be ranked at the bottom. And the NFC Championship game versus the Rams, that would be dead last. And I know why people wonder what people are thinking, like, why would the NFC Championship game against the Rams be dead last? I think you can pretty much sum it up with saying it wasn't their fault. They were supposed to win that game. So it hurt from a fan standpoint, like, man, you know what I'm saying? The NFL screwed us, but it wasn't their fault. The number one reason why I picked the 49ers game is simple. Greg Williams. Greg Williams could have easily played prevent defense, but he decided to live by the blitz and die by the blitz, and he allowed Vernon Davis, who ran a 4.5 40 as a tight end coming out of college, allowed him to get behind the defense and drive the ball down the field. And also the last play, when Roman Harper almost separated his shoulder trying to dislodge him from the football. That hurt. And they were just so good that year, man. Me personally, I think that was one of the best Saints team before we, got into this like regime right here, and we got this collection. I feel like that was the best Saints team. That was the best. That was like the team that really set the organization back. That's when like the window like closed for a little while. Because that's when Greg Williams got suspended, Sean Payton got suspended, and that's when the team like really started going downhill for that certain amount of time. Fred Thomas says, "Cut me some slack, would you? The Bears were farting up a storm during the 2006 game, and it was killing my nose and making me want to faint." Fred Thomas, I'm gonna just go ahead and take that as an excuse. I'm just wondering what happened, not just in the Bears game, but the games against the Falcons and the games against the Panthers. And I don't know, man. You just sucked, man. I'm sorry. I apologize. And it was funny because when I went to college, I went to Jackson State University. I actually went to college with Fred Thomas's nephew, and Fred Thomas was paying for his nephew to go through college. He was paying his way. And he used to really get on me because I used to talk about how terrible his uncle was. And I used to tell him that he sucked. I don't know if he told him. And if he would have came to me, I would have said it to his face. And then I would have asked him to line up and I would have caught a couple passes on him because at that time I was a really good wide receiver. 2018 NFL championship and 2011 divisional hurt me equally as much. Those are the best Saints teams ever. Yep, they were. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. TJ, what are your top 5 Saints teams? Mine is the 1991, the 92, the 2009, the 2011, 2018, 2019. My top 5 Saints teams. I gotta Let's start at number 5. Number 5 would be the 2000 New Orleans Saints. They end up winning their first playoff game with Aaron Brooks. Okay, I say that because they actually made history. Okay, and I was actually in that thing. I was a 13-year-old kid, and I had the opportunity to go to the game and watch them win their first playoff game. So that one always kind of sticks into my heart. That's the number 5 team. The number 4 would be the 1991 Saints. Of course, the Dome Patrol. Really good defense. Bobby Abel was garbage. Throwing. I don't know. I call that the Eric Allen game when he was just throwing the ball to Eric Allen, like Eric Allen was a birth of the of what a lot of these NFL teams and a lot of these XFL teams have been stealing. The camera poles. Okay, that was the camera pole Saints. That's when they first brought out the camera poles, when they was running to the camera and stuff like that. So I would have to say them. Okay, so that is the number 3 New Orleans Saints team. The number 2 New Orleans Saints team, of course, is the 2009. Believe it or not, the 2009 New Orleans Saints, the one that won the Super Bowl, is my number 2 favorite New Orleans Saints team. They went 13-0 until they lost to the Cowboys, of course, but they were just an opportunistic defense, and there wasn't a bunch of guys they were just a bunch of castaways, to be honest with you, man. Just a bunch of guys that were just hungry and wanted to win one for the city. And, I thought they were a decent team. I don't think they were the best Saints team. I guess you can say that they were because they won the Super Bowl, but the number 1 team would have to be the 2018 New Orleans Saints. 2018 New Orleans Saints were the best New Orleans Saints team ever. Okay, they were supposed to go to the Super Bowl, and I feel like if they would have went to the Super Bowl against the Patriots, they would have ended up winning that football game. And I feel like it wouldn't even been close. That's just my personal opinion. I feel like the Saints, something was different about that team, man. Those guys were special. Those guys were like hungry. And me personally, I feel like they probably was a Sheldon Rankins away from winning, and that game wouldn't even been close. If Sheldon Rankins probably would have played in that game, nowhere in the world the Rams would have been able to keep up, because he would have been able to get pressure under, he would have been able to get pressure in the middle, man. Sheldon Rankins, his 2018 campaign was his best season. So, yeah, those are my teams. Scroll down a little bit. Let's see. I held back after the 2018 NFC Championship game. Yeah, I was upset about that one. But like I said, that's a game right there. You can't even really you can't even fault the team. Like, that was not their fault. They were supposed to be in the Super Bowl. Everybody and their mama believed they was in the Super Bowl, including the people that was like ragging on Saints fans. The Falcon fans, they were ragging on Saints fans, but in the back of their mind, they were like, oh, thank God they didn't come to Atlanta. They knew it. That was the only thing that saved them. And that's why, they'll talk about it now, but they know what it is, man. They know that was a really good Saints team, and they know they dodged the bullet. I was 14 that year. Well, we lost to the 49ers. My family was laughing because we lost. They all Cowboy fans too, because I live in Dallas. Jaleel, at that time, I stayed in Dallas, man. I can tell you where I was. I was working in Garland. I was a manager at CVS Pharmacy, and I was chilling in a break room. And I was in between working on the cell floor and in the back of the break room. And I remember like when, who was that? I think Jimmy Graham ran, caught that touchdown. And I started jumping and screaming, man. And people can hit me all throughout the store like, man, what's going on back there? Like, I remember that like it was yesterday, man. And I remember like when they lost that game and I had to go back to work. Oh, my goodness. That was like the longest because the store closed at like 11. That was like the longest 5 hours of my life. My goodness. I remember that, man. I remember that like it was yesterday. You know exactly where I was. Let's see. That 2011 team would have won the Super Bowl. No way the Giants would go to New Orleans and win the NFC Championship game, and that Patriots defense wouldn't be able to handle. Yep, I believe that. I 100% believe that. And that was the worst part of it. That was like the worst part of it because if the Saints would end up beating the 49ers, then the NFC Championship game would have been in New Orleans. Because the number one seed was the 15-1 Green Bay Packers that year, and they ended up laying an egg. They ended up laying an egg, man. They ended up stinking it up, and Eli Manning, being clutch in the playoffs. That's when he started getting his little mystique or whatever like that. But nah, they wouldn't have beat us. I don't think they would have beat the Saints. Would have to take a Herculean type effort to beat them, and a lot of referee help. Worst one for me was the Minneapolis Miracle because Vikings fans are such arrogant. I'll just say jerks. Okay, I'll just say jerk, Josh. I get it. I see what you're saying, but man, it's hard for me to really talk about a Minnesota Vikings fan, folks, because they never done anything. They are the poster boys for failure. Okay, you can talk about the Saints and you can talk about the last 3 seasons of disappointment, but man, the Vikings have not done nothing. Okay, I mean that year where they went like 15-1 and they had like one of the high power offenses and Randy Moss on one side and Chris Carter on the other side, and you know what I'm saying, you had Robert Smith as a running back, and man, you had like John Randall and Randall McDaniel and all them boys out there, and you still couldn't get over the hump. Like, come on, man, give me a break. Like, I laugh at Vikings fans. Like, I get it. They do have the Saints number in the playoffs, but they lose the very next week every time. So you could say that the Saints, it take everything that they have to beat the Saints, and they don't have nothing left the following week because every single time they beat the Saints, they end up getting whooped the next week. It happened with the Eagles, and it happened with the 49ers. And they got embarrassed. Like, they got took to the woodshed by the 49ers. Like, the 49ers, was so arrogant. Like, they just like, man, y'all, we gonna run this football. There ain't nothing you can do about it. Most disappointing game isn't even a playoff game. It was the 2014 49ers game where they broke our 5-year home game winning streak. I was sulking like a month after that. Yeah, but man, records are made to be broken like that. I mean, I get it. I get it, Josh. But I don't know, man. Just something about back in the day when the Saints sucked and they lost, you were like, man, well, it was close, but they sucked. But now it's like it hurts even worse because they're so good and they lose. It's like, man, if I can repeat something that the great Jim Henderson said, it's like having open heart surgery. And he said week after week, but I'm gonna say year after year without the anesthetic. That's what it's like. They're that good and they lose to scrub quarterbacks, man. Case Keenum, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, man, like the epitome of mediocre. Like, if mediocre had a Mount Rushmore, these guys' faces would be plastered on there. You lose to those guys. Think about this. Soon as Drew Brees retired from the NFL, he going to Canton in 5 years. When those guys retire from the NFL, I don't know where they're going to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just going to fall off the face of the earth. And these are the guys that the Saints lost to. I sat next to the Viking fan in the 2017 wild card game versus the Panthers. Man, Viking fans are a little bit obnoxious, but Saints fans are obnoxious as well, man. We can be arrogant too now. And we can get a little annoying as well, man. Like, let's not act like we can't. You know, when we talking about them Saints, man, y'all already know. Like, so I mean, I think when it's just something about like smaller market teams, like because everything is just so close knit. I think that it's just such a family oriented environment. So when you're talking about a player, it's like you're talking about your own family member. Not so much with the Giants or other teams, you know, like, well, maybe the Eagles, you know, they willing to kill you over them Eagles, but it's just something about that, man. And it's like talking about your family members, but it's just something about those small market teams. I think Minnesota, I think they have that same type of passion. Let's see. Who's your top 5 most hated NFL teams, TJ? Top 5 most hated teams. Number 5. I don't think I have a top 5. I don't have a top 5. I just got one. Well, no. I don't want to, like, honestly, I say I got 2. I don't want to say hate. Like, I just don't like the Falcons. I just don't like them for obvious reasons. Okay. I just don't like, I think they fans are pathetic. That's the reason I don't like the Falcons. I feel like they fake phony fans. Like, let's just go ahead and like look. I know I'm going off to a little tangent right now. I know I'm getting off point, but the reason why I don't like Falcon fans because Falcon fans aren't real. If you look at Atlanta is a melting pot. People come from all across the country to come to Atlanta because for some apparent reason, Atlanta, Georgia is like, you know, where all your dreams come alive and all your problems go away when you go to Atlanta. So everybody goes to Atlanta, you know, everybody goes to Atlanta. They want to be big time and all that kind of stuff there. And I just don't feel like they're real true fans. You know, they just come from different places and they root for that respected team. I feel like if you're an Atlanta Falcon fan, you basically just, I don't know, somebody has some tickets. Let's just roll to this Atlanta Falcon game. I don't feel like they have a lot of passion, and they felt weather as hell. You know, like when they losing, they ain't nowhere to be found. Like the whole time, Atlanta was like stinking it up all season. When they played the Saints and they won, man, y'all suck. Like what? Like where y'all been for the last 4 weeks? That is why I don't like Atlanta Falcon fans. They are convenient fans. Like when it's convenient, when the Falcons are winning, when they can go ahead and take that jersey and blow it off. You know what I'm saying? That's when they want to come out and play. That's why I don't like them. They not real. Cowboy fans are the worst fans ever. The Dallas Cowboy fans are the worst fans on the planet. I do not like Dallas Cowboy fans. Dallas Cowboy fans are the most delusional fans in history. They will throw those rusty rings that need WD-40 on them on you really, really quick. We got 5 Super Bowls. Man, we just beat y'all 40-7. We got 5 Super Bowls. Man, y'all ain't make the playoffs again. But we got 5 Super Bowls. Man, y'all quarterback, man, he ain't really up to snuff. Man, but we got 5 Super Bowls. Like, that's annoying, man. Like, the game didn't stop in 1995. And for me to put this in perspective, I need y'all to understand. In 1995, the first Friday movie came out. Okay? The first Friday movie came out in 1995. Okay? Fresh Prince of Bel-Air just went off the air in 1995. Okay, I need you to put this into perspective. Okay, Bad Boys, the first movie, was just coming out in 1995. They have made what, 3 of them since then? I'll rest my case. Dallas Cowboys, man. I don't have a top 5, but those are my top 2. Don't like them. Carolina, man, they all right. You know what I'm saying? Like Carolina Panthers fans, I mean, I deal with them all the time around here. They're cool, man. They see I'm a Saints fan, like, they'll be like, yeah, we're gonna beat y'all this year, but and it's cool. Tampa, they pretty cool too, man. I mean, I ain't really got no problem with no Tampa Bay fans, but Falcons, no sir. I'm just not. I'm just not about that. I'm not about that Falcon life. Okay, Falcon fans are fake, phony, pathetic. Like, come on, man. Like, win a Super Bowl or something. You know, sometimes I gotta check. You know, sometimes I gotta check Alexa and see if the Atlanta Falcons won a Super Bowl. Because I swear, man, like they be talking mad greasy, like they didn't want a Super Bowl. I had to ask Alexa. I mean, I was like, Alexa, like how many Super Bowls the Atlanta Falcons have? I had to ask her. And she couldn't find it, man. Like Alexa couldn't find it, you know. So Alexa told me they ain't have no Super Bowl. So I'm gonna believe Alexa. Alexa tells me that it's 70 degrees outside or 67 degrees, and I look at my phone, it adds up. You know, I look at weatheraccurate.com, and it's the same thing. So I'm gonna go with Alexa. And Alexa told me that the Atlanta Falcons never won a Super Bowl. I don't know. Maybe y'all can tell me how many Super Bowls they got. Maybe, you know what I'm saying, they hiding under here. They over there. I don't see them. Maybe they over there. I don't think I see them over there. But where the Super Bowls at? Where the Super Bowls at? That's all I'm saying. Where they at? 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 Falcons, Patriots, 49ers, Rams, Cowboys. In that order. I don't really hate the Patriots like that. I just like to give my best friend a hard time. He's a big-time Patriot fan. My best friend from college. Shouts out to my boy Smitty. Big-time Patriot fan, man. I just like giving him a hard time. I really don't pay attention to Patriot fans because Patriot fans ain't real anyway. Like, Patriot fans, like, come on, man. Patriot fans, come on. Stop it. They like Golden State Warrior fans to me. They only just riding the wave, okay? As soon as Tom Brady get off that boat, they jumping ship as well. Let's see. I hate the Falcons. The Falcons, as you call them. 49ers from growing up, they used to run our division. Hate them. Yeah, the 49ers, man. But my uncle, man, shouts out to my Uncle Isaac, man. My Uncle Isaac was a big-time Joe Montana fan. And I'm going to be honest with you, man. You got to be 100, okay? Let's not pretend like it wasn't embarrassing to have a Saints starter jacket back in that day, okay? Now, let's not pretend now. Come on, man. Like, the Saints were trash. And, like, if you were a Saints fan, you know, like, you didn't have that type of pride you have out here in 2020. Like, you'd be like, you a Saints fan? Yeah, I'm a Saints fan. You know what I'm saying? Like, you weren't saying it with as much enthusiasm. Like, you be like, you a Saints fan today? You be like, yup, what's happening? But back in them days, and you was quiet as a church mouse in some cases, man, you know, but everybody around New Orleans, man, I mean, they was wearing like 49ers starter jackets, Cowboys starter jackets, Steelers starter jackets. I ain't really see too many Saints starter jackets. People left your behind up out of school, rib you to death if you had a Saints starter jacket on. For real. I'm just calling it for what it is, man. You know, when I was going to school, man, going to Colton Middle and Hansberry Elementary and Douglas, well, not so much Douglas because they were just starting to get better. But man, people used to clown you, man. They used to clown you. Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl in a quarter of a century. Yep, 26 years and counting. For me, it's the Falcons. This is from Jalil. Number 2, the Cowboys, because I live here and I can't stand they fans. The Vikings, the Eagles, the Panthers, and the Rams in that order. Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty decent list. Roger Staubach put the Cowboys on the map. Yeah. And how old is Roger Staubach? I think what he about 80? You know, I don't think he that old. I think he probably in his like late 60s or something like that. You know, that's where they get America's team from because they used to refer to Roger Staubach as Captain America. That's a pretty decent. I ain't gonna lie. That's a tight nickname right there. I'm gonna give them that. But you know, I mean, they live off their brand, man. They like the Yankees. You know, the Yankees, no matter how bad they are, they still are Yankees at the end of the day. And if you combine like everybody talking about them year after year, week after week, you know, I mean, the media makes them relevant most of the time. And Jerry Jones, you know, Jerry Jones can, man, Jerry Jones can keep that team relevant, man. Bravo. Top worst college teams. My top worst college teams. You talking about the ones that I hate, Kelly? Let's see. College teams I hate. I hate Oklahoma. Can't stand them. Oklahoma, for some apparent reason, FBS, and they just love Oklahoma. Never have no defense. Throw the ball all over the place. When it's time for them to go to a bowl game, they get blew out. I'm not a fan of USC either. I don't like USC. I didn't like them during the time when Reggie Bush was there. I didn't like Reggie Bush in college. I thought he did some great things. I thought he was a beast, but I wasn't a fan of him. I didn't like Matt Leinart. I thought he was smug. I didn't think he was that good. Seems like I'm right. Lindell White, I didn't like him. I think he was just, he was just a poor man's Marshawn Lynch. I mean, they had a lot of talent on those teams, but I just didn't like them, man. They were just arrogant. Texas, I don't like them either. I never liked the Texas Longhorns. So those probably my three. I'm not fans of those guys. Huge LSU fan. I've always been huge LSU fan. Used to always buy like those college football books. And man, I used to want to be like him so bad, man. Like I used to like when he like sleep or something like that, I used to grab the book and I get my like I think that's probably why I like sports so much. I used to take his magazines and I used to read them real quick because I was just wanted to talk to him, man. And I used to be like, man, such and such coming out, he coming from this high school, he committed to this college, and he gonna do this, that, and this. And I just love to have conversation with my brother, man, about that. So I think that had a lot to do, with my love of sports, but just not a fan of those teams, man. Not a fan. Not a fan of those teams at all. On some real talk, do you think the window has closed for the Saints, or the door is still wide open for the Super Bowl? Well, it's not wide open, but they still can get there. As long as Drew Brees is there, man, they can make it to the playoffs. And all you have to do is make it to the playoffs, and the next thing you know, man, I mean, it's anybody's game. So I think they have a chance. Okay, I mean, but that window isn't as wide open as it once was. I can tell you that. You an Aints fan wearing a paper bag. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what we was doing. I ain't gonna lie, you know what I'm saying? I had a Swagman bag on my head, but the thing about it is what people need to understand. It became like it became something of a little gesture or endearment. You know what I'm saying? Like it seemed like people wearing bags on their head was like it was just something to do with that was funny. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like this team is so bad, I just want to wear a bag as a joke. You know what I'm saying? It was just like jokes. It wasn't like I don't want to be seen at the game. It was just a joke. So I think when people that's not from New Orleans look at the whole paper bag thing, they look at it like, okay, man, they don't want nobody to know they was at the game. Not really, man. I mean, that kind of just became an actual thing. And people start to get creative, man. I remember like taking some Sharpies and asking my mama, can she buy some markers? And I used to decorate the Saints bag. I used to be proud of that joint. You know what I'm saying? And I still used to watch the Saints game hoping that they win. So I don't think a lot of people realize that, man. I don't think people really understand. People from New Orleans, I think y'all understand that, man. It wasn't like an embarrassing thing. Like most people just did it, just to kind of get a laugh. And, what they say, a term of endearment or something like that. I think it was something like that. I mean, it just was funny. I'm friends with someone who was born in New England. His uncle even played for the Patriots in the 85 Super Bowl, and he only watched the Pats in the playoffs. That sounds about right. Oh, Roger Staubach, 78. Wow, man. I didn't think he was that old. Wow. He looks good for his age, man. If you've seen him lately. I didn't think he was that old. Wow. That's crazy. He had to do 4 years in the Navy before he can come play in the NFL, Vietnam veteran. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because he won a Heisman Trophy at Navy. Let's see. I hate OU, Texas A&M, and Alabama. I don't want to say I hate to say this. I don't think I hate Alabama. I want to see them lose when they play LSU, but I don't want to say I hate Alabama. I mean, they got a lot of talent over there, man. And even though Nick Saban is a jerk, you know, and I feel like he only cares about himself. But at the end of the day, like he's a really good coach, man. And let's not get it twisted, man. Before we had Ed Ogeron, if Nick Saban was like, "I'm coming back to LSU," I don't think nobody in Tiger Nation would be upset about that. I guarantee you. Haha, that's how it used to be, though. Yeah, man. Not a fan of USC. Let's see. Yes, it was awesome. I went to the Peach Bowl here in Atlanta. I'm still blown away. Yeah, that man, they ripped Oklahoma to shreds. That was embarrassing. That was embarrassing. For them to like get beat to sleep like that on national television. This man had 7 touchdowns in the first half. I'm LSU, Texas, and TCU fan. I like TCU, man. I like Coach Peterson, man. I don't know why nobody ever called him to be a head coach or a defensive coordinator in the NFL. Like this guy's a really good defensive diamonds in the rough too, man. They always have like really decent players that go to TCU. They always got like 1 or 2, even probably a handful of guys that become really good pros. I mean, Damian Thomason, he was a legend. I mean, he rushed for like 408 yards in a game one time, before it seemed like it was an every week thing. I think P. Ryan did it, and I think then a running back from I think did Melvin Gordon do it? I can't remember. I've hated Alabama ever since their students came to Louisiana making a joke out of Hurricane Katrina. Yeah, y'all can understand that, man. Y'all can understand that. All bets off when you're talking about Katrina. I will look, we can talk, but when you start talking about a natural disaster that people have lost their lives, I can't roll with you. They listen to your show. Man, I can care less, I'm just I just call it for what it is. Okay. I mean, y'all ask me for my opinion, I give it to you. Sometimes I try to make it a little witty, but I mean, I'm just telling y'all the truth. I don't do things for the shock value. Okay. I just tell y'all what it is. At the end of the day, I don't like Fred Thomas, think he's horrible. I tell him to his face. I'm not a fan of Texas, Oklahoma, USC. I'm just not. Just it is what it is. And I would never, sugarcoat the fact that the Saints wasn't good in the 90s. I mean, I've been a Saints fan for a long time. I mean, I have broken a lot of furniture. I have ripped a lot of shirts, and I've been frustrated a many years over this team. Taysom Hill is just like the preseason and the play calls. You don't show the league all your good plays. I think Sean knows he is special, and he doesn't want to lose a player like Taysom Hill to another team. Mike, thank you very much for that comment. You're probably right. I think Taysom Hill is a good football player. Notice I said football player because I don't know if he's a good quarterback yet. But, I mean, he deserves a shot, man. He deserves for us to say, is he good or is he not? Okay, he deserves that shot, and I think they should give it to him. If he sucks, then, just do what you have to do to make the team better. But if he goes out there, knock it out the park, me personally, I don't think that he is a future franchise quarterback. I will come on this podcast and apologize to Taysom Hill, just like I apologized to Teddy Bridgewater early in the season. I will do the same thing. But right now, I'm saying that he is not a franchise quarterback. Dwayne says you do a phenomenal job on the chat. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it, man. I thank you all for chatting, man, and putting comments in there, making the show entertaining. I'm a Houston Roughnecks fan over in the XFL. Yeah, man. I like that quarterback, man. I can't think of his name right now, and I'm upset about that. but their quarterback is really good, man. I mean, he probably had one of his worst games this past week, but that guy is really good, man. I think he went to Temple, if I'm not mistaken. He was a quarterback at Temple. I mean, he's really elusive. Would not be surprising if somebody tried to give him a shot at being an NFL quarterback. Like PJ Walker. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, PJ Walker, that's his name. Yeah, he's really good, man. He's the best quarterback in the XFL. I know that's not saying much because those guys throw more picks than Razor Ramon in the XFL. If anything is going to kill the XFL, it's going to be that terrible quarterback play. I mean, those guys are horrible, man. I mean, I never seen so many interceptions in my life. Every drive, pick, interception. I'm like, God, dog. I'm like, these guys throw more interceptions than touchdowns. I mean, these guys got more turnovers than Krispy Kreme. It's terrible the way those guys play the quarterback position. That's what's going to kill the XFL. They got to find some better quarterbacks, okay? Look, I understand the whole budget and, I'm paying guys, a certain amount of money, but, man, get some of these backup quarterbacks that ain't going to sniff the field in the NFL. Try to get man, Josh Johnson. Man, how many NFL teams this dude played on? Like, I mean, that's not saying much. I give PJ Walker the benefit of the doubt. He's young, but Josh Johnson, man, come on, man. You talking about a big fish in a little pond? Jesus Christ. Josh Johnson, BJ, and PJ are actually really good. Yeah, PJ Walker real good. Josh Johnson, he just a little bit better. He's just above average among average players. Danny Wolford was the worst quarterback drafted by the Saints. I would have to say Garrett Grayson is the worst quarterback that was drafted by the Saints. Garrett Grayson, I thought that he was going to be the answer. Colorado State came in, rocking number 18, said he looked up to Peyton Manning until I realized that he could hit the back of a barn door. I mean, he could hit water in a boat. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was horrible. Like, this guy was, like, completely inaccurate. You know what I'm saying? Like, he throwing to the Gatorade man out of bounds. I'm like, God dog, bro. You know what I'm saying? Wide receiver wide open. He looking at the Gatorade guy. I mean, the Gatorade guy led the team in completions when Garrett Grayson was throwing the football. This guy was terrible, man. So Danny Wolford, I mean, he had some bright spots. Wasn't many, but I would have to say Garrett Grayson was the worst. Okay, but you're entitled to your opinion. Alabama, I hate them. The New York Guardians quarterback played for the Alabama Irons in the AAF, and he sucked there. That was my team. Yeah, you talking about Mac McGloin? Yeah, Mac McGloin, that boy suck. Okay, absolutely suck. Then he was on the sideline pouting, talking about the worst game I've ever been a part of. That's because you was in it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it wouldn't have been if you was actually on the sidelines or not in the stadium that day. I mean, that guy sucked. Matt McGloin was trash, man. He was trash for the Raiders. He was trash for the Eagles. He was trash for the Irons. He was trash for the Guardians, okay? I mean, honestly, man, stealing money, a waste of time, space, and, place. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that could have been somebody else's spot. Matt McGloin, terrible. Absolutely awful right there. Horrible quarterback, bad leader, like pouting on the sidelines. The reason why he's not an NFL quarterback. Seeing, those scouts, they get it right sometime. Remember when the Saints signed a beer truck driver to special teams? He was awesome. Yeah, you talking about Michael Lewis, man. Yeah, Michael Lewis, man, a true success story. Guy that was a beer truck driver, tried out for the Saints, had 4.3 speed. That's about all he had, though, but he used to run back kicks, man. But I mean, this dude, he went to the sidelines too much for my take. He wasn't elusive at all. He was just fast. He tried to get to the edge faster than other guys, but I'm like, these guys in the NFL, you're not going to get to the edge quicker than some of these players, man. And I feel like that would cost him. And then he never, developed as a wide receiver. So that cost him too. We haven't drafted a quarterback in the first round in 49 years. The longest streak in NFL, 31 years for the Cowboys, is the second. Yeah, that's true, man. I think what Archie Manning was the last quarterback the Saints drafted in the first round. So Yeah, I think they should do it, man. I think the Saints. I noticed the topic was who the Saints should draft, a quarterback or a wide receiver. I feel like they should draft. Me personally, I feel like they need to draft a quarterback before they draft a wide receiver because they got so much talent in this draft. Getting to the edge, that was Reggie Bush's issue. Yeah, man. I mean, one running in between the tackles. But I'm about to go ahead and get off. I don't know if y'all can hear, man. That is my son in the background. He is teething right now, and he's having a very rough time, man. He has a rash right now, and it's causing him extreme amount of pain. So I got to go ahead and do my dad duty, man. But thank y'all very much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. If you have not already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search the State of the Saints podcast. And thank you very much for being a part of the live. Once again, this is the State of Saints podcast. I am TJ Jones, and like always, all I gotta say is, who that?